Welcome to another episode of the CarryTrainer Higher Line podcast. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Higher Line podcast. We're going to talk to you today about some health stuff, right? We've got Dr. Steve Sikorsky. I'm going to use my joke again because this is a redo. Like the helicopters, but without the money. Yep. There was a whole joke about me naked on this table, which we can't go back to because we lost that moment.
Yeah, that moment's going forever.
It's the second time you've been here with us.
Yes, almost a year.
Yeah, you noticed on the picture behind you, it's been a year. So we're going to talk about
some of the underlying conditions that helped increase your chance of winding up in the hospital because of COVID. And I thought this would be a good opportunity for maybe patients or people a part of this podcast that maybe have some of these to take this opportunity and improve their health and maybe decrease the chance of winding up in hospital and also improving your health for the rest of your life.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask a couple questions right out of the gate. So you said earlier, like, hey, I'm not a COVID specialist, and neither am I. But you are a medical professional, and what you did was you looked up tons of data, comorbidity. So these are other diseases that were in patients' bodies that led to their demise.
Yeah. For example, 56% of the patients that were hospitalized had hypertension or high blood pressure. 49% of the patients that were hospitalized had obesity. And then there's another disease that had 41% of the patients is metabolic disease, which is like a catch-all, which would be high blood pressure, obesity, and diabetes. Then other things that were there, cardiovascular disease, you would figure since COVID strikes the lungs, chronic lung disease, renal disease, and then there's a bunch that they don't even know why.
Renal meaning kidneys.
Kidneys, yeah.
So the interesting thing is, so we all see these stats, 100,000 people have died, 1 million people have died or have been hospitalized because of COVID. Why this is important is most of the people that are there, and I'm repeating what you just said, is because they were already sick with other things, so compounded and their body just can't handle it.
Yeah. For example, obesity is very inflammatory for the body, and so now we have a virus that creates a lot of inflammation, and it'll compound it. And now they have that cytokine storm where they have so much inflammation in their body, and now you can't handle it. So if we took the time to work on some of this, maybe if we did get COVID and we were healthier, you wouldn't have wound up in the hospital. Or just for the rest of your life, you could be healthier and spend time with your grandkids instead of lying on the couch sick.
That's a nice thing.
Yeah.
Quick side note, the background noise, we've got some construction going on out of doors, so real life here, everything's not always peace and quiet. That's kind of an interesting part of the discussion. Maybe you can spend more time with your grandkids. Like sometimes we fixate on all the facts and figures and forget that like we're actually trying to live.
Yeah. And so I went on and I used Google and just typed in how many people are obese in the United States. 70 million people.
A third of our population
are obese.
Or somewhere in there.
That's a lot.
That's crazy.
And then there's 99 million people that are overweight.
Wow.
I mean, that's astronomical. Like,
what's the difference one versus the other, do you know?
Your BMI. Okay. So basically, once you get over a certain amount, and I don't have that number in my head, but let's say you were 20% BMI, you might be overweight, but 35% you would be obese.
I don't know if I totally believe in the BMI because I was at the doctor and their BMI measurement on me said that I was
overweight probably, right?
Correct. And I'm like looking at the doctor like, not that I'm some picture of health, but like, what the frick?
Yeah, it doesn't go for like the bodybuilder. But just general body mass index.
Okay.
That's what they're getting. They're not
we
saying
are bigger than we were really built to be.
Probably.
You look at indigenous people around the world and usually they're built like you. Like muscular, but like not excess anywhere on them. Like you're built for endurance and speed and you're a triathlete, you're a long distance runner.
Yeah.
You're a coach, just to make sure the listeners know where some of your background lies besides the medical stuff. You coach Ironman.
Yeah. And I do, I'm a chiropractor, so I treat, athletes all the time. Well, on that note, think about your yearbook. If you went back and you took your yearbook and you compared it to the yearbook today, and you just looked at the pictures of the people, there's a drastic difference.
Sure.
And I would have some of it's environmental, probably what we're putting in our body, and we can go down a rabbit hole and blame it on hormones or chemicals.
You leave beer out of this.
We'll leave beer out of it. But something we're doing is changing us. We're taller. You ever look at high school kids now? Man, they're giant. And I don't ever recall high school kids being that big.
I think what you're saying is like we've got different things we're putting in our body that's just changing our makeup.
I mean, think like obesity. If I'm 47, go back in high school, how many people were overweight or obese? Almost 30 years ago. And the same thing, and now they are. And we have such an abundance of food, and it makes it so easy, like DoorDash. You don't even have to get out of your house, and they'll bring you food.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah, and maybe not healthy food.
Sure.
Garbage. And, there's a saying, we're undernourished, overfed. In other words, we just have so many calories, but we don't really have healthy food. And this is impacting our health as well. The other... diabetes was another one that really increased your risk of winding up hospitalized, and 34 million people have diabetes, and they're thinking 26 million are diagnosed, and another 7 million are not diagnosed yet, that they just have it and haven't been to the doctor. I mean, that's kind of scary. If we have younger generation, kids in high school are overweight for the rest of their life, what's that going to do to their joints or their liver or just the overall health? It's gonna have this wave of just sick adults, and then they're gonna have sick children, and it's scary. And I think COVID was horrible, but it did impact people that were unhealthy, I think, the most. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today.
Definitely, you heard stories of people that were healthy, but we hear that with everything. Cancer, I have a friend that dropped dead and literally still alive. He was dead for hours. His heart just stopped beating while he was out on a run. He's a jiu-jitsu practitioner. He's a runner, and his name's Matt. Like, you hear things like that, like, what the heck? He's healthy, but something in his body just cut loose, and luckily some people were able to find him and save him. But the numbers are telling us so many of these people had other diseases, illnesses, etc.
Your friend, you couldn't have stopped it per se. It just happened. And, but if we can stop the disease, it doesn't mean we're not going to die or we're not going to get sick, but just so that we have more years to our life, like we're healthier and we can do more and just take care of your family, Let's say you're 60 and you're overweight and you have hypertension and diabetes and you can't work anymore. What is that, the financial impact to you? You have to go on disability. You're not making the same amount of money. So then now you're not going to be able to travel. Let's say your grandkids are in a different state, and instead of flying there 5 times a year, you can only fly 2 times a year. I mean, so your health impacts almost everything in your life.
Sure.
And we've all seen the old lady that has a hard time going from her car to the grocery store, and she has to use that cart. I mean, that's got to impact people's health. So my goal with today was just to kind of use COVID to talk about health, and hopefully we can have a good conversation and maybe give some of your listeners and simple things that they can do. Somebody who is 40 and they're 50 pounds overweight and they feel lost and they have no energy. Well, what can you do? That's what I'd like to talk about.
It's interesting, like, so much of this is tied to our emotions, too. Like, how often do we hear this? I'm going to eat this, like, just today because I'm going to treat myself. Or I'm going to... tobacco. I smoked for years, so I get it. Like, I only enjoy it once in a while. Or whatever the thing is. And we've changed eating from being fuel to pleasure. And it can be pleasurable, but it's so much about pleasure now that it's like the fuel part we don't even think about. We don't even think about that. and so much food, like you said, it's crazy. You walk to a grocery store, how much stuff is not really good for us.
They have aisles.
Aisles.
Junk food and
Yeah.
soda.
Yeah.
Just that in alone.
Breakfast
I think.
cereals and processed meats and processed cheeses and processed
Very
stuff.
quick, easy, cheap, but not healthy.
Yeah.
For like the supermarket, one of the like health,
Axioms.
it's like you only walk around the outside of the store because you miss all the junk.
Right.
And so,
Only go to the middle for coffee and toilet paper.
yeah, seriously,
Yeah.
which they don't got anymore.
Yeah, right.
Out of all the things during an apocalypse, it was toilet paper.
Yeah.
But so let's talk a little bit about things we can do then. For example, everybody knows they should exercise, and you show lots of really cool exercises, and you show like really hard workouts. But what can somebody do that's just starting out? The best exercise.
Are you asking or telling?
Oh, it's a rhetorical question.
Oh, okay. Well, what is walking?
Exactly.
Yeah, walking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like walking.
That's it.
Yeah. Drew walks all the time. How much you been walking?
I do about like 10,000 steps a day.
So is it like 5,000?
It makes it at jogging.
5 miles maybe?
I haven't
I
checked
think,
the
I think for
mileage.
me, if I do about 10,000 steps, that's about 5 miles or so.
Yeah, I go between slow and slower.
It's better than nothing. And the definition of exercise is an elevated heart rate for an extended period of time. So it doesn't matter how fast you're going as long as you get your heart rate up and you're doing it for a longer period of time. That's going to be beneficial for the body.
So then you could, over time, walk faster, walk farther,
Yeah.
carry a load.
Carry a load. Or if there's a hill in the neighborhood, you can do some hill repeats. And you just walk up the hill, walk down the hill. And there is like an interval training session for somebody who is not in great shape, that maybe can't run sprints or lift heavy weights repetitively like a kettlebell, but walking up and down a hill, you could be out of breath, which would raise your heart rate even higher. And when we are walking, it's better to be just consistent than worry about the time. So if you only have 20 minutes, I'd rather have you go out than try to go do an hour.
Once a week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go do it every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice thing to get. If you got a dog, it's easy. It's a nice thing to fall into a habit. Like I know Drew does it every day, but I try to go in the morning, and then after supper, I'll take the dog. Like last night, we just went on a quick 20-minute loop around the neighborhood.
And it doesn't have to be hard.
Yeah.
It just has to be consistent.
I power walk.
In a Speedo.
There you go.
I love seeing those people in the mall. Yeah.
Just kicking ass.
That's awesome.
So then, along that lines of of cardio, if we're making most of our workout lower intensity, and then having just 20% being something harder like the hills, you're going to get a much more benefit than working out somewhere in the middle, or like you mentioned when we had that conversation earlier, I do work on the treadmill every day for 5 miles, but I don't lose any weight, or my heart rate isn't any better. So the ability to train easy when you're training, and then the ability to train hard as well.
We get efficient at stuff too.
Yes.
I don't know how many carpenters I worked with that were strong as oxes, or I have a mason friend. Dude's a bear, but he's got a huge belly and out of breath all the time. His body's become really accustomed to like picking up heavy things, lifting overhead. But like if you said, hey, let's go for a 2-mile jog,
You'd be dead.
yeah.
Inefficient exercise is the best for stimulating the body.
Inefficient exercise. Yeah, I mean that's like when we're gonna run. We're talking about you're gonna help me run longer distances. We get efficient patterns of running, but I'm not burning. The point is burn less calories so I can go farther.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you burn more calories.
Right.
Or like we're in shape, but then if we went line dancing, we might get out of breath. Or if we did some other
Some
form,
we're not used to.
Yeah, that's inefficient exercise, basically. And so, let's say you do a lot of walking, well, then throw in some biking. And maybe someday you bike and then you walk, or then you pick a different trail. Running on gravel or like a trail is much harder than running on concrete or the flat, because of the changes, and you have to use stability, and you're stimulating your body that way.
I dig it.
You know, and even if you just go for a walk with the dog in the forest, again, you got to step over a stump or, you know, duck under a bush. You're changing your body.
Doing things that we would have had to do to go forage or traverse the countryside to visit grandma.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That would have been...
It's pretty comical. Like, what's that movie? Is it The Hunger Games, maybe? Where they're enjoying all the rich people food, and then they would eat a pill that made them vomit so they could go enjoy more food. Like, we have so much stuff that now we have to, like, contrive work. Like people swinging a sledgehammer against a tire instead of swinging a sledgehammer against a rock, or like, you know, splitting wood or whatever.
For your fire.
Because
you're going to freeze to death.
Right, now I'm just makeshift do this
Doing
stuff.
it just for this.
Or I'm riding a bike just to ride a bike instead of, crap, I have to go to work on my bike or whatever it is. Yeah, we're contrived.
Yeah, that's how lucky we are. Mm-hmm. Like, we are that lucky that we can order food and it delivers, or we just hit a button and we have heat, any temperature we want, and open window. You know, so it's beautiful. And so the exercising is simple, and if we're out of shape, walking 30 minutes might be difficult, and that's okay. But in a year, it's going to become simpler. And if we can only walk 10 minutes, and then next week you can walk 11, by the end of the year you're walking an hour. And that's progress. That's going to improve your blood sugar. That'll improve your cardiovascular health and make yourself healthier in general.
Resting heart rate.
Yeah, you'll sleep better. You know, it'll be good. And you think about, like, just walking, if you grabbed your wife and you held hands while you went for your walk, how much better your relationship would be. Just how much healthier you would be. No Instagram, no Facebook, no TV.
Walk and talk.
Walk and talk, just like you did when you were dating. I mean, your relationship would improve. You wouldn't need marriage counseling.
It's true. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Dr. Phil Steve.
Now I just have to follow that and I'll be okay.
My wife sometimes hears this stuff and she's like, you say these things, but shut up.
I know, right? No, but my dog got into the habit of taking a walk after dinner. So every time we eat dinner, we put the plates away, the dog starts barking, and me and my wife,
It's a good habit.
Go for a walk. Even though we might not want to walk with each other.
Some of our European family turned me out of that years ago. It's kind of a nice...
It's your evening constitutional.
Yeah, exactly. The evening constitutional. It's a nice way to keep the digestions moving.
Yeah. And then it'll slow the day down.
Yeah.
You know, that time is for you.
That's a nice way of looking at it. Slow the day down. Yeah, because what do? Then we hurry up and go sit in front of the TV, or hurry up and get back to the computer to follow up on more emails and garbage.
Yeah, you don't connect to our roots.
I like to slow the day down because in the end, we're trying to live. But we're always like in a rush to get to the next thing.
Yeah.
Rush to get to the next thing.
I'll agree with you. Well, and then along with that would be what we put in our body. And the easier I think you make it, the longer you can do it. Like we've all done like a fast.
Sure.
Man, that's hard. And then you eat, and then you kind of just gain everything back. Or you follow a really super strict diet, and you get your six-pack, and you're looking ripped. But the moment you have a beer or a donut, you're back on the other track, where if you did like 90% healthy and then enjoyed that glass of wine, or you went to dinner with your spouse, you could just easily roll right back into that healthy eating.
That's a mindset too. Because if it's a forcing yourself to always have to do the right thing, then that's no fun. You have to start to like want that.
Yeah.
And then not want the bad stuff.
Yeah, discipline is fleeting. Like, you know, it's really hard to be disciplined all the time, unless you're like Jocko, you know, where he's just like super disciplined.
I've got a buddy, Rudy Reyes, who's looks like a Greek god. He's single-digit body fat all the time, and I've been with him before where it's like, okay, I'm gonna eat now. And like, to look that way, he does modeling, and he was a Marine, recon soldier, Marine, but he's maintained that. But the sacrifice
is great,
and what he has to do, like, that's pretty intense. I mean, he looks like the cover of a Men's Health magazine every day.
But not everybody can do that.
Yeah.
And I think like, especially with today's world, like you go on YouTube and you type in diet, and then there's a 20-year-old who's a goddess who can do anything they want, which doesn't relate to
Our
somebody
metabolism.
47. Every
Yeah, when I
year.
was 20, I could eat a tray of lasagna every night and just
Exactly. And you were still ripped. And you could work out all the time.
Yeah.
And you didn't need to sleep.
Yeah.
But now,
testosterone levels were higher.
So, where was I? Besides that, oh man, I haven't lived lasagna in forever.
Let's make some.
Seriously, holy
On
God.
a side note, my buddy Les Keys Martoni talked me into getting an attachment for our KitchenAid that you can feed like zucchini into, and it cuts the zucchini into long ribbons, where then you can make like lasagna with like zucchini or yellow squash instead of.
But if you're going to do it, you might as well do it.
It's delicious though.
I know where we were.
Go.
We're talking about the goddess. And there are those people that are the goddess that can do everything perfect. Then there's the rest of us. And like for me, I work out every day, but the hardest lift is the lift off the couch. To get up, to go into the basement, or when I'm done with here, I have to work out, get out of the car, change, and get it done is the most difficult thing.
It is working out.
Yeah, it is work. So yeah, that's the one thing is you have to have a little bit of motivation, but we don't have to be a goddess, and we don't have to have the Tupperware where it's weighed out 6 ounces of chicken, 10 asparagus, five almonds, and 3 ounces of sweet potato.
Some people do need that though. Like they at least get their brain reset.
Yeah. And well, you could prep your food, but does it have to be 6 almonds? Could it be 10 almonds? So I wanted to give some simpler diet recommendations.
Okay.
And the biggest and the most, I think, is to get rid of high fructose corn syrup, which is going to be found in most sodas and most junk food. I mean, if we can eliminate that, you're almost halfway there. There's so many calories. It's so bad for you. It raises your blood sugar so high. It just has such a negative impact to our body. And also, too, it's very addictive.
Processed sugar in general.
It's addictive.
I mean, even white sugar. People now, they're like, it's real white sugar.
It's still
processed sugar down to just sugar.
Yeah.
Even if it's made out of fruit, it's still the condensed sugar.
And that's the problem. It doesn't have the fiber with it. It doesn't have the fact that you have to eat it and all the other things that God put in that apple, and then we squeeze it out and just eat apple juice. Well, that spikes your sugar, but if you eat an apple, it's healthy.
Do you feed your kids fruit juice?
No.
Yeah, we don't either. I mean, like when my kids were little, Andrew, who's 21 today, can't believe that, we'd give him like a little, like that much juice, and the rest was water.
But it was still super sweet. But
Yeah.
then we get accustomed to it. We drink water in our house.
Yeah, we did too.
That's it.
Yeah.
We have water
We
and
drink
some
water,
rice milk
beer,
for
wine,
but
bourbon,
for dinner. We have water.
beer.
Yeah, beer. That's it. That's just drinking beer.
Elevate.
It's got a beer, right?
Right in the Cheerios.
So I think that would be the one thing.
Is there some other trade names high fructose goes by on labels?
Oh, they kind of buried it. I can't think of it off the top of my
Let me
head.
look it up while you're
Corn
talking.
syrup.
Yeah. Corn syrup would be it. High fructose corn syrup. And they have all the other sugars too, like tapioca and.
Let's see, we've got HFCS is on some labels, which is high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah.
Some people are calling it corn sugar, just because they've got to rebrand it.
Yeah, well, might as well sound nice. It's from corn. It's natural.
Yeah.
It's like Cheetos.
Yep.
Here's an interesting article called Hidden in Plain Sight, talking about sugar. I don't want to hijack what we're talking about.
Oh, this is important. This is all along the lines of trying to get yourself healthier. So if we do get sick, we don't wind up in the hospital.
61 different names for sugar listed on food labels. Common names such as sucrose, high fructose corn syrup, as well as barley malt, dextrose, maltose, rice syrup, among many others. I think if we do a little bit of research, people start to become aware of these things. Keep going.
No, look, and that's like the big one. Just think about like pick up yogurt. And you're like, oh, I'm going to eat yogurt for breakfast. What's one of the main ingredients?
50 grams of sugar. Yeah, it's like a Snickers bar in one of those, like a Dannon or cheap little 75
fruit on the bottom, just
yeah.
a whole thing of sugar. So like that, you get the Greek yogurt, it doesn't taste too good. You get some natural jelly, which if you read the ingredients, it says raspberries, and it's crushed raspberries. You put a teaspoon in that, and there you are eating more healthy.
I like the plain Greek yogurt. I think you acquire a taste for it when you get away from enjoying all the sweet stuff.
Yeah. Well, when you break that habit,
Yeah.
and you're not addicted to it as much, then you taste real food. I'll use it in my smoothies.
Me too.
Yeah, it's good. That and an avocado thickens stuff up really nice. Well, then the next thing is that apple. Have an apple a day. If you're eating an apple a day, it's filling, and then you're not eating a candy bar or Twinkies. If you bring it to the office and you leave it on the desk, you're more likely to eat that apple than grab a candy bar. There was one study where they showed, they studied a bunch of people in an office and they put candy on the desk. Then they put candy in the drawer, and then they put candy like in a cabinet up. And as the candy continued to get further and further away, they ate less of it, which makes sense. So if you put a healthy apple on your desk, chances are you're going to eat it. And then that way you're putting better food in your body.
I think some people can overdo it on fruit too. Like I know some people think they're doing a good job and they'll eat a pound of fruit a day thinking they're pounding tons of sugar.
The good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I ate a whole watermelon. I just don't do that.
I just like my brain's always worked like in the context of humanity, it would have been impossible for an average person to eat 8 tangerines a day, because except for the time of space that these things were on the trees, you couldn't have apples year round.
No.
2 a day or applesauce like that we can now eat. Applesauce every single day. You just couldn't have done it.
No. There was a really good book, and the addiction to sugar is a defense mechanism for survival. So we weren't always successful 100,000 or 200,000 years ago hunting.
Yeah.
But if we walked past a bush and it had berries, we ate that whole damn bush because we didn't know when we were going to eat again. And there's that feast and famine, or like very trendy now is intermittent fasting. Well, we have no famine now. Like we don't. You can eat it all the time.
Yeah.
And so, trying to put
I'm starving. Yeah. No, you're not. You ate 3 hours ago.
Exactly. You're not starving. If you haven't eaten for a week, that's starving.
Right.
The next important thing would be along your eye, and instead of being like a sugartarian, just eating a ton of sugar would be a nice ratio of vegetables to fruit would be a 2-to-1 ratio. So you have that apple a day, but for dinner we don't have applesauce, we're going to have a salad. So trying to eat a salad a day is pretty important.
You can ruin a salad so easily too by going bloop, bloop, that most like French dressing.
Yeah.
Corn syrup is like the #1 ingredient.
Yeah.
What?
I'm kidding.
Yeah. So, but you'd have to be a little bit intelligent, but a salad would be better than a Whopper.
I think it's worth talking about though, because folks will go to
Burger King
or McDonald's and they'll order a salad and then it's okay vegetables, better than nothing, and then they slather it in and it's not even the caloric content of the sauce they're dumping all over it. It's oftentimes just made with a bunch of
chemicals.
Yeah, garbage.
Yeah. Seriously. Do you ever look at some of the labels?
Yes.
There's like crazy words on
I'm a snob when it comes to food.
Oh, join the club.
Yeah, I mean, I have no well, I mean, snob in the sense of, so you're talking about eat simple, like give me a piece of meat and some vegetables.
Yeah.
I'm a happy camper.
How much more happy can you be? Yeah. And then you wouldn't have to worry about, is it keto or is it paleo? If you eat whole food, whether it's a steak and vegetables and a potato, I mean, that's keto, that could be paleo. That
God, you cannot eat a potato, it's carbs.
I know, but so what? It's healthy. So like thinking of that, making it so simple and not killing yourself over the fine minutia. Now let's say you were 75 pounds overweight, and we started some of this healthiness. You started walking every day. We started cutting out high fructose corn syrup. We're starting to eat a salad a day.
Which means no soda.
No soda.
No pops.
No pop. No Red Bull. No sweet tea. Just good old-fashioned water. Put a little lemon in it. And we're eating an apple a day.
Good iced tea with no sweetener is not bad.
No.
I don't drink a lot of it, but you can make good iced tea, no sweetener.
You can make it. You know, it's inexpensive. And now you're down, let's say, 40 pounds. Then you can start worrying about the fine weighing stuff out. But we're talking about globally, what can we do if we have diabetes? What can we do if we have hypertension or we're obese? It's the simple changes, the long-term gear plan to make yourself healthier so that way we're less susceptible to just general disease.
I got a buddy that, good carpenter, firefighter, just pop, because he'd drink like, a couple Cokes throughout the day. He lost like 30 pounds just in a few months, just not drinking any soda.
And he felt better.
Yeah, and then, he started to go to the gym and lift weights at the firehouse more and,
Yeah.
got fitter. We've got a student that dropped 80 pounds in a year, no diet. He started exercising every day and then cut out any excess sugar. Like by no diet, I mean he didn't go on like any like crazy plan. He started walking and then jujitsu. He's been doing jujitsu the last year, but 80 pounds
That's
in a
amazing.
year. Just omitting excess sugar and then a little bit of exercise. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
It is amazing. Next one would be just good old-fashioned water. Just start drinking it. If we're not drinking all that sugar shit, we better put some water in our body. Water.
Yeah. How much?
Half your body weight in ounces is
so
roughly a good amount.
150 pound person, 75 ounces of water a day.
Now, let's say you are drinking more water and you don't know if you're dehydrated enough. It's the color of your urine. So if you're peeing all the time, outside of taking a ton of vitamins, let's say you just wake up in the morning, you haven't taken any vitamins, and your urine is really, really bright yellow, you're going to be dehydrated. So the clearer your urine is, the more hydrated you are. And that's a really simple way to put it. And that's for you, like when you're out teaching in the hot sun, that's something so people can
I
know.
actually tell people that I will check your urine.
Okay.
I will follow you to the bushes.
Pee in this cup.
We say water in, water out. If
Okay.
you're not pissing, then you're not drinking enough. I want you peeing every couple hours at the very least.
Oh, that's important.
Side, yeah.
So especially if you're starting to exercise and sweat, and if you are overweight, you're going to be sweating a little bit more.
Do you wake up and guzzle water? Like I know Paul and a couple other guys, one friend of mine gets up every morning and he fills up like a big 20-ounce cup, and that's because that's how he starts, every morning. Do you do that?
I don't guzzle water I just drink water and I have a cup of coffee. And, during the day while I'm working, or I just usually just drink and don't make a big deal out of it.
Yeah. I think some people go through those rituals because they had to break a bad habit.
Yeah, I guess that would be a good way.
Kind of like the measuring of food. If you've never had any discipline in your food choices, maybe it requires you to put 6 almonds in a cup until you develop new habits,
Or your stomach shrinks a little bit, and then you're used to eating kind of like a normal portion instead of like the whole bag of Sam's Club almonds.
That's another interesting thing, how much we eat. Like, one of my pet peeves is like when a family member's like, I'm so hungry, like I said a minute ago, and like then they get angry, and then they're like, you don't understand, when my blood sugar drops, I get angry. Shut up. Like, you literally ate, like even if it was yesterday, and you went a whole day, like you will be okay. I grew up and my parents had 11 kids, so you might have had to wait a little bit to, for the next meal, and you just get used to it. And I actually take a little pleasure in that. Like, I'm hungry, but I'll be okay. Not like sick pleasure, but I can wait.
Okay.
I'll be okay. I'll be all right.
And that hangry is that you have your blood sugars are never stable. Your body's not able to just balance itself. So if you're constantly pouring soda down your gullet, you're spiking your sugar, and then your body's releasing a ton of insulin, and then your sugar crashes, and then you're not feeling good because you just don't have balance. And that's where you're cutting out that, and you would be better off to have a glass of water or have a half an apple, just something healthy if you feel you're hangry and you're gonna pass out until you're able to balance.
Yeah. I dig it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure like you and even me, you go the whole day, you're busy, and you don't think about eating because you're busy, but the moment you're like, I get in the car and I go drive home, I'm like, oh my God, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
And then I go home and then you eat.
I've got my backpack I travel around with. I usually have like a Kind Bar, or I forget the brand. They're dates. It's literally like chopped up dates into a bar. It's
the
like
no BS bar.
yeah, it's something like that. I buy them in a box, or dates. I love fresh dates. I'll throw a couple dates in a bag, and like I just had an orange upstairs. I like an orange and some almonds or something like that. I just toss that stuff in my backpack, and for the last 2 years, I've really only eaten a meal a day. And like I'll have a couple snacks like that. Like what is it now? It's 12 o'clock. I've not eaten anything but that orange that I had with you upstairs, and I'm fine.
Yeah.
But that's me. Some people. I used to eat like 5 square meals a day though, when I was physically working all day long and just burning through calories.
5.
I would be starving, man. I'd have breakfast and then I'd have
Were you
some
really starving?
lunch. No, I mean, I would just burn through it though. I worked like an animal. I'd burn through it, and then on the way home, I'd like pull another sandwich out of my cooler and
start eating.
Eat a sandwich. Then dinner, because you'd be burning through it. Yeah.
And that was the good point, is to be prepared. So you are trying to lose weight, and if you go to work and you don't have any food, and everybody's going out to lunch, what are you going to do? What healthy choices really are out there? Not many. And you're not, when you're going to order a salad when you go to this place, or you're going to order a burger and fries. So, prepare yourself. You take some time, get meals prepared, cook up some chicken, divvy it up, put it in Tupperware. It's not going to go bad in 5 days, and be prepared. Or have your desk, little cups filled with almonds, and then you can grab it and you could eat it so that you don't make that bad choice.
I think the point about the little cup's a good thing, because we could sit there if we had a bowl of almonds and eat the whole bowl of almonds.
Yeah,
that's
some
not going to
crazy
kill
calories.
you, but it's not great to do either.
No.
Now you're scouring your guts with a bunch of nuts. That was like a
You shouldn't do that.
country song.
That could go really bad, though.
Scouring your guts with a bunch of nuts.
You're doing it wrong. You're just shoving nuts up there.
But we do that though, like you said. Your story about the sweets. I've done it. You're sitting at like the receptionist desk at your doctor, and there's a little bowl of Halloween candy. You're like, oh, I don't even like those, but what is that? And you start eating. You know what I'm talking about? Because it's there, and in your brain, you're like, food. My grandfather, who came over from Europe, was a poor kid who made his way in the world and died with $1 million in the bank, and always said to us, always eat when there's food in front of you, because you never know when your next meal will not be there. And that stuck with me as a kid, and it took me till I was about 35 to be able to say I don't need to finish that. And it's still like a little bit of me like, oh, but I'm wasting it. But I don't need it. Like, I'm not starving, but I'm wasting it. Yeah. So either it can go feed the rats and the worms when I put it in the compost pile, or it can get packed onto my hips and ass.
My grandmother would drink the water from like the pressure cooker because she said it had vitamins.
Probably did.
I know. But that's because she grew up in the Great Depression. And
actually, that's probably a great idea.
Damn, Grandma.
You cook pork in there, though, Grandma. Just pork water.
But she was, who knows? She grew up in the Great Depression. They used everything.
Yeah.
Nothing went to
waste. That was
waste.
my gramps. Yeah.
He'd
have cheese in his refrigerator that was like, no, and he'd just like scrape off the black.
Top, cut off the top and eat the regular stuff.
I mean, that is what cheese is, but...
My grandpa would pull dandelions out of the backyard.
My mom does that. We just had... Hey, did you have my mom's potato salad on Memorial Day?
Yeah.
Half of the stuff in that potato salad came out of her yard.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Mustard root, and it's delicious.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
And then I think the final thing is to be... We talk about spending time with the family. Now you're on the couch and you grab the bag of chips. You just can't do that. You got to stop. Mm-hmm. That's just not good for you. And then, trying not to eat. Because it's very easy to sit, watch TV, get up, go to the pantry, grab something, sit back down. And then your kid walks by, hey, go grab me, whatever. And then doing that. So limiting the amount of eating we're doing, like at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. Not super crazy, but don't just snack for the whole day. Mm-hmm. And then you worked all day, you ate your dinner, you went for your walk. Now you're sitting on the couch watching a little TV. You just can't be munching away on junk while you're doing it.
It's so attached to our mindset, like our ethos for life. I think it's so easy where people like, oh, I gotta go on a diet. How about I get to change my habits and feel better?
Yeah. And there's that like 90% good, 10% bad, where we're making small changes that we can do for an entire year that will impact your health, that isn't overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Small changes at first, small changes, then you feel better, and then you can walk longer, and you look down and you can finally see your penis again, you know, and then you're like, holy cow. I can see my penis. Yes, thank God there's not a big belly in the way.
Same with the physical stuff that you're going to do some demos on in a moment in the other room. Like, I can't touch my toes. Well, you will be able to after you stretch a little bit, stretch a little bit, stretch a little bit.
There's no instantaneous, and that's the Instagram.
You can't buy health.
No. You really...
That's the title, Drew. You can't buy health.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like it too.
You can't buy health. You got to work for it.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely over the long period of time. And you look at like your friend who's the goddess.
Goddess would be a female.
All right, God. The Greek physique, he's chiseled. He does something every day. There's never a day he's not.
He does every single day. I'm going to show you a picture of him. Maybe
Right.
Drew can put one into the podcast.
But he's doing something every day. Every day he's making himself better. Fighting Father Time, who's killing us slowly.
Are you talking about John from New York?
No, Rudy Ray is. Like, there he is there. Yeah.
Good for him.
He's, this is a very current picture. He's older than us. He literally, anywhere he goes, like he's got some type of exercise equipment with him, and he'll hang straps in a hotel room and alone rip out like hundreds of dips on rings, or just he's into it.
And
There's a
proof in the pudding.
HBO series that was made about those guys in the early days of the Iraq War. He played himself in the HBO series.
I know him. I saw that one.
Yeah,
They were in the-
Fruity Rudy. Don't get mad at me, Rudy, if you see this.
All right. But I think it was a good series.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the bomb. Mm-hmm. He was ripped. Little things often throughout your life will make you healthier, and then you won't get these diseases, and you'll live longer. You might still walk down the street and die of a heart attack, or get in your car and get run over, but at least you're to the best of your potential, and you feel the best you possibly could be. I think that's the important thing. It's like, be the best you can be every day, a little bit, consistently over the long term, and you won't need no trends or gadgets or take these pills and you'll be awesome.
I'd like to when we talk like in combatives and fighting and the stuff we do with the CarryTrainer, we talk about awareness, right? And it's so you can't be aware of everything. So we talk about like looking at what's out of place or what doesn't belong. And like if we look at all the people, everybody listening and us that we know in our lives that were fit when they were old, there's like similarities. Like I got a neighbor, his name's Mark. He was a World War II Navy vet. He's in his 90s. He's got a little dog like Charlie, and twice a day he walks the whole loop of this neighborhood. And it's rain or shine, snow, whatever.
He doesn't.
Yeah, it's probably 5 miles he walks, and he's 90-something years old.
But he doesn't look 90.
And he's not hunched over. If you saw him, if he told you he was 70, but even then he moves like a 50 or 40-year-old man. His body's upright. He walks briskly. He if he bends over to pick his dog up, it's not he bends over, picks the dog up. He's on his hands and knees in the garden. He's got a beautiful garden. His meals, I've had meals with him. He'll have like a little tea in the afternoon, a piece of toast with some local jam or honey on it. He has a nice fish or something for supper. He eats like we're talking about. Yeah. He walks every day, reads books.
Yeah.
Sits and watches the sunset.
It doesn't have to be hard. It just has to be consistent.
Mm-hmm. Genetics plays a role for some of us, but I know people that have bad tickers in their family. So then, even more so, you should pay attention to this stuff.
So if your grandpa died at 50 and your dad died at 50 and you're overweight and you're not healthy, chances are you're going to die at 50. But let's say you are exercising and eating right. Maybe you have that heart attack, but it doesn't kill you. And you get to, because a third of all heart attacks that die, they don't make it. It's over. So then you have the heart attack. It's not catastrophic, and then you get another 10 or 20 years, and then you do see your grandkids instead of
being gone.
And
Go ahead.
No.
I was going to say the interesting thing about some of that genetic stuff, and I'm not a scientist, but I pondered this. It runs in the family. But then what also runs in the family are eating habits, sleeping habits, drinking habits, stress habits. Like you see the way a mom passes on her anxiety to her kids or a dad, and the way that mom or dad dealt with stress is how the kids learn to deal with stress. So it's not just like what's in our DNA, but all of that stuff.
Everything.
In the physical world. Yeah, I think sometimes people just want to chalk it up to people have, bad gallbladders in my family. Well, you all also live off of pulled pork every day. And
It's a mix and match, but if you do have like a genetic, you can either accentuate the expression or maybe try to suppress the expression.
Right on.
Yeah, and that's another thing. That's long term, every day, trying to make yourself just a little bit better.
How do people find you? I know you're based here in Chicagoland.
I have my website is elginchiropractor.com, and I practice in Elgin, Illinois, and I treat everybody from everyday regular patients to elite athletes to you, jiu-jitsu, Paul.
Did you used to work at Attack?
Yes.
So you used to. I forgot about that. You used to work with.
I did a season at Attack Athletics. Yes.
Tim Grover.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know what that is, that's the guy that was Michael Jordan's coach.
And so like those guys, it was amazing. When they were in the gym, they never missed a basket. It was hundreds and hundreds of shots they could just sink in a row.
Really?
Yeah. And the first time I ever saw it, when I was there, you watch a game and, they're great if they shoot 30%. And so I expected that when I was there, but they never missed, ever. It was amazing. And but there's the difference between practice and the game and the fluidity. But they would come in the morning, they would get treated, then they would have their personal training, so they would lift. Then they would have a skills, and they would practice skill ball work and drills. Then they would shoot for an hour. Then they would play a game, and then they would eat, and then they would get treated, and they would leave 5 days a week.
Wow.
It was amazing. It was pretty cool to see truly how good they are.
A lot of that influences your work today, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So somebody that's a performance athlete, a triathlete, a marathon runner from another part of the country could get a hold of you and do one-on-one stuff with you.
Yeah. I treat, call, make an appointment, I'll take care of you.
Okay.
I'll do the best I can for you.
Have money, I'll help you.
No, but I'll do the best I possibly can. Come with $100 bills.
No, seriously, because of that background with those high-end athletes, people that are looking for some high-end help, you can't. Yeah. This shoulder, they wanted to do surgery on 2 years ago, my ortho, and you abused me for a summer, and it's golden now.
Yeah. So what we'll do today is we'll do the running thing, because then this is what I'll do for my runners. If I have somebody who comes in the office and they have a running related injury, we're going to videotape you in slow motion, and then we're going to dissect it, and we're going to say, okay, this looks kind of wrong, this is kind of wrong. Then we'll muscle test you and examine you, and then treat you. But then also you have to change, maybe if we have somebody who shoots wrong and they keep doing it until you change their mechanics, they're going to keep missing the target. Same thing, if you are constantly getting treated for the same damn injury, but you haven't improved what was causing it, then it'll never get better.
Right on.
Yeah.
Got to get to the root.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate you coming out and chatting.
Oh, I appreciate you giving me a chance to hopefully impact some people's health. This was a scary time.
It is.
There were so many people got sick, and so hopefully you won't be one of them if you follow some of these recommendations.
And we add to all that just the anxiety, the emotional side effects of I don't want to get sick, I can't go to work, my finances are down, my 401k is tanking, et cetera, et cetera. All that stuff is insult to injury.
Yeah. So take control of the stuff you can control.
Diet, exercise, good thoughts, sunsets, walks with your wife, holding hands.
There you go.
Let's get it. You're the only guy that signed this twice.
I know. I'm so lucky. What's today's date?
The 13th, my son's 21st birthday.
Oh, wow.
Look at you, right back there.
I'll go right where I am, man. And then hopefully I'll just keep coming down. We'll come in once a year and we'll maybe do some health-related topic and just try to help people.
Well, maybe we do it more than that. Guys, we appreciate this. Drew works hard to edit these up. If you dug this one, any of them, share them with your friends. Put them on your Facebook page or share them wherever. You take the information that guys like him spent a lifetime to curate and develop and pass it on, but it also helps people see this. If you're watching this on YouTube, share some comments down in the bottom. Tell us what you thought. Tell us what you didn't like, what you didn't agree with. Maybe I'll come on there and argue with you because I'm good at that. Maybe not. Be good. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you.
So now,
Let's do it.
let's do it. Visit our website, CarryTrainer.com, for information about classes held throughout the U.S., CarryTrainer apparel, and upcoming projects. You can also email us at training@CarryTrainer.com for information about setting up your own private course or speaking engagement. Training@CarryTrainer.com or CarryTrainer.com.